Hi FlossTube, it's Jen from Delicious Threads. Today is Thursday, November 17th, and this is my mid-November update. I cannot believe how quickly this year is going by and how quickly November is going by. It was not too long ago that I was getting really excited for November to finally be here because I was looking forward to the election. And then now the election's done and we're almost to Thanksgiving. And I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this year to end. I'm not looking forward to January. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I have to have a light on. This end of the year seasonal stuff is not fun, and hopefully all of the colors for everything I show you are going to show up right. So my sister came to visit for like 4 or 5 days while my parents were away. My youngest sister is 13. We did a lot of stitching. She's really interested in cross stitch, and when she visited a couple months ago, she took home a pattern that we worked on together, and that was her second project ever. And when she came to visit this time, it was finished, and so I helped her make it a fully finished object. And she started another pattern that we designed, and that one was also fully finished before she went home. And we have I guess technically it's the fourth design that she's done, but we have another one that I'm going to finish charting for her, and then I'm hoping to either be able to email it to her soon or at least have it for her when she comes to visit for Thanksgiving. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's kind of weird to have a sister that's so much younger than I am, but we still have a lot of fun hanging out together, even though I'm super old. So November's almost done. Thanksgiving is next week. Ever since we bought our house, my husband and I have hosted my family for Thanksgiving. His family is kind of too far. His parents don't like to travel too much, and then his sister, she's in Oregon, but her daughter is there too, so they don't usually come out here for Thanksgiving. So I'm excited to have everybody here visiting, but my kids have the whole week off, so I'm hoping we're not going to go stir crazy. I don't really have a lot of time to stitch during the day anyway, but I imagine that next week it would probably be even harder for something like that to happen. I'm just hoping I'm not too tired at the end of the day from running around after 3 kids to get some stitching done, because I would really like to get some more stuff done before the end of November. Let's see. Oh, let's start with my fully finished object. So I showed this to you a few months ago. It's this hot air balloon design. Fuzzy Fox Designs, I think, on Etsy. And this is the one that she did when there were those wildfires in Canada. And part of the proceeds, or part of the sales, went to the Red Cross in Canada to help with the victims there. So I had this done, and I think when I showed you, I had also painted the hoop. This is one of my favorite ways to frame a smaller stitch piece. I mean, bigger ones too, you could do that. But I just feel like adding the painted hoop does a lot to, I was going to say add. It adds a lot to the finished piece, and there are so many different craft paint colors that you can use. I just use regular acrylic craft paint. You can really make your piece look however you want, and this one I almost added sparkle paint to it too, but I'm glad I kind of decided not to because it looks good. So the way I finish it is I leave, you can kind of see the shadow in there, I usually leave an inch or two around and cut the extra fabric into a circle, and then I do a gathering stitch through the very edge of the extra fabric, and then I pull it tight so that it's kind of gathered in the center. And then I tie that off in a knot, and then I cut a circle of felt. This is just regular craft felt, and then I stitch it to the stitched fabric. So this is Ada with just a little sort of whip stitch all the way around. Maybe I'll do a video of that sometime. Oh, that's pretty simple. You can look it up online. So my one and probably only fully finished object for 2016. I worked on 2 projects this month. In Mania, we're doing something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue for the monthly stitch along. And this fit as something old because it's my oldest current whip. I started this in 2014. It's my Once Upon a Time sampler. So the last time you saw this, I didn't have any of this border done. I think starting at this pink right here, maybe even further up. Oh no, starting at the crown. So the crown was the last thing I had. So I did all of this border, and I have a little more to fill in over here. I think this border line might have been there. Maybe I stitched that. I know I stitched this one, this gray border line. Anything you see in November, I stitched, and I don't remember how much I had already done for Cinderella. I think I had started on the pumpkin carriage. So the pumpkin carriage is done, Cinderella is in there, and I have October. And a lot of the stitching I actually did for the Cross Stitch It's Fun Stitch What's sort of weekly challenge. They did a floss bingo, and that was a lot of fun. So you call out a bingo or a floss color, and the first person to stitch 100 stitches using that color takes a photo, or they take a photo of the beginning and the end, or the start and finish, and they post it saying bingo, and then their Stitch What's house. So remember, I talked about this last time. It's kind of like Hogwarts, but for stitchers, and so your team gets points. So a lot of this was done with that in mind. So October is pretty much done. The things that are missing, there are lots of little blue and white, sort of just like little sparkles. I think it's supposed to be like magic or fairy dust. You see there's like a little ring of it coming out of the fairy godmother's wand, and then the others are just kind of scattered throughout. And it kind of feels like a bit much to me. So I was waiting to stitch that to figure out if I want to do all of it. Maybe I just want to do like some of the blue or some of the white, and maybe not both. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And then for November so far on Red Riding Hood, I have her little picnic basket. This is going to be, I think, a piece of pie or maybe cake. I don't remember, but I have the crust in the little stand. I finished red, and this is Grandmother's house. So this, I think these little gold things are like little acorns. So I'll keep working on this one, and hopefully I can decide what to do about October. I can decide anytime. Yeah. The other project I worked on was Giant Harry Potter, and this fit under Stitch Mania's something new because this is one of my newest projects, and I also am using a new product that I haven't used before, which was Petite Treasure Braid. So last time I filmed, I had just gotten it in, and so this time you'll see that I've actually stitched with it. So I believe last time I had done all of the leaves except for the silver and the gold bits, minus the blue over here, and I think maybe I need to restitch some of this red one. So I finished all of the leaf motifs for the top. I added in the gold and silver Petite Treasure Braid for between and in the corners for the leaves. I added in a sparkly HP for Harry Potter. This is part of the snake for the Slytherin house banner. And I started the Gryffindor banner over here. And I skipped around on this one a little bit too because of doing floss bingo. So far, I really enjoy stitching with Petite Treasure Braid. I don't think I will ever go back. No, actually, I know I am never going to go back to the DMC metallics at the very least. I probably won't use Krynic anymore. I still have a bunch, so it's possible I might use it on some projects, but I enjoy stitching with Petite Treasure Braid so much that I will probably just stick with this. I think I need to get one of their color cards so I can figure out what I need when I need it. So my plan for the rest of this month is to try to finish the first 2 house banners. So Gryffindor, I can't remember which one's next. I don't have it on the pattern. So whichever one is next to it here. And then I think there are some like flying keys over here, and I think I was planning to stitch those too. So we'll see if I can get that done. So far those are the only projects I've worked on. Yeah. I did get some haul. So last time I recorded, I told you that I took advantage of that Hirschner sale that Katie was talking about. And I couldn't remember exactly what I got, 14 cross-stitch and needlework magazines. I'm not going to go through all of these. If you really want to know which ones I got, just let me know in the comments and I can tell you. I'm not planning to do any flip-throughs. They do still have some. The last time I checked was actually a couple days ago. They still had some that were 99 cents. But most of, I think the fall ones were already gone before I got to it. But they still had some of the winter ones. So if you're looking for some things to stitch up for the winter, there's probably still some magazines there that you can snag for $1 each. And then I also got 2 cross-stitch Christmas books. So I got this one. And they're both called A Cross-Stitch Christmas. So, oh wait, this one is specified A Heartwarming Holiday. And this one is the other one I got, A Cross-Stitch Christmas Handmade Holiday. And these, I think, full price, like $32 or something, and they were on sale for $4.99. And last time I checked, these were still available too. So they're nice hardcover books. So I haven't had a chance to go through all of these. I don't know when I will. Maybe soon. I flipped through a few, and of course, many of the things I probably won't stitch. But there are enough cute little ornaments and things that I will definitely stitch. Plus, my sisters are starting to get into cross-stitch, and it's nice to have something that they could look at and try to get inspiration from, or possibly even borrow if they find something that they'd like to stitch up. So, sorry, those are heavy. What else did I get? I finally got my Picture This Plus order from the Christmas in July sale. So I thought I had only gotten 4 pieces, but I actually got 5. And I don't remember, I think 2 of them were just in case pieces. I am planning to stitch Ink Circles 99 for my husband. And so the suggested fabric, or the one that they used for their example, was Ale. And so this is a 32 count Lugana in Ale. And I'm not sure if I like it. I mean, it does kind of look like beer. It's not really, it's probably not a color I would pick for something for me, but it might actually work really well for a beer-themed stitch. I also got a piece of 32 count Lugana in Ren because I wasn't sure if that other one was going to be too weirdly gold. And Ren is just a really good neutral in general, so it's nice to have a piece of that if I want it. So I'm going to have to look at the floss. I'll probably do a floss toss, but I'm going to use one of these 2 for $99. I have some Mirabilia mermaids to stitch up. The first one is going to be for my sister, and I'm going to stitch Gypsy Mermaid for her. I'm not going to put pictures in. You've seen it before. You'll see it again when I actually start to stitch it. So for that one, we chose Lock. This is also a 32 count Lugana. It's hard to see these colors. So this one's like blue with kind of some green smudges. My lighting isn't too good right now either. We have a lot of trees where we live, and I feel like the sun disappears early. It's only 2 o'clock, and I feel like the sun is setting. I also have a mermaid piece for myself that I'd like to stitch at some point, mermaids of the deep blue, and I wasn't sure which fabric I would want for that, so I got two. I got dwarf, which is very blue, like that, and I also got splash. And this one looks a little bit different to me than it does on their website. They describe it as, I don't remember exactly how they describe the blue, but blue with like pink smudges. And when you look at the picture, you can't actually see any pink smudges. It just looks like a really kind of bright blue. And you could definitely see how they describe this as pink smudges, but the pink with the blue, I think, come out more purpley. This is really pretty. So if I don't end up using this for my mermaids, I will definitely be able to find something to use that for. So that was my Christmas in July sale order. And last night, I put in another order with them for a lot of pieces. So when that one comes, I'll show it to you. It's actually mostly for Halloween stuff. So I'm just planning ahead. I'm doing the Stitch from Stash 2017, so I want to make sure that I have the things that I need. Trying to not go too crazy, but I was just thinking about it last night and while I was organizing things, and so I decided to go ahead and grab those. So I'll show you those next time. I also got a piece of fabric from Pemberley. Hi, Pemberley. She put this, I think, on Stash Unload. And it is a 32 count platinum Lugana, and it's a really pretty neutral color. It's a big piece too. I don't remember how big it is. It's 27 by 36, so pretty big. So I don't have plans for this one yet, but I'm sure I will. I was watching Pam's video earlier this week or at the end of last week, and she was talking about getting a snag nabbit. And I have wanted one of these. I didn't know that they made these. Not necessarily for cross stitch, although I did think about it recently for cross stitch stuff. But for like sweaters, because we have cats and they tend to jump off of you when you're holding them, and sometimes they'll snag your sweater and they'll pull up a thread. I'm like, man, I wish I could just like shove it back in there, and usually I'll use like a pencil or I'll try to like use a needle or whatever, but that's what this is for. So this will be helpful for that. And then recently I've been, I don't know, in my stitching I keep finding like little kind of loosened threads, and it seems to be happening more and more. And it's always like where I start my threads, so I think I need to just be more careful about leaving a longer tail, because maybe my tail is too short and it shifts. But this will be helpful for helping to get those little loose threads back in. So if you haven't watched Pam's video, she talks about getting one of these and then getting a second one of these, and about it being a really helpful tool. And if you have little threads in your stitching that you want to tighten up, this can help you. Oh, I got it at Joann's, and they have it in the like stitching accessories or notions area, and they actually had it by, not where they had snaps. They had mine where you would have like repair fabrics, basically, where they have like the iron-on patches and things like that. So if you have been looking for one of these and can't find it, that's where it might be. The last thing I got this month is I got some sticky backed felt for finishing off Christmas ornaments. And I got in a couple colors. I got some whites, green, black, and red. I'm planning to stitch up some Christmas ornaments, and so on like perforated paper and perforated plastic, and so I thought that this would be a good way to finish the backs off. So I think that's it. Oh, I also got the Do-It-Yourself Stitch People book. It's, if you follow Stitch People on Instagram, you can go and see what the book is. But basically, it's a book that helps you kind of chart your own people for like samplers, like for marriages or birth samplers, or just like doing like a family portrait-y type thing. And you can get an ebook or you can get a printed book, or what I did was I got both. So I actually have the ebook on my computer already, but I'm also being sent a physical copy. When I get that, I will show it to you. But if you want to check it out now, I will put a link down below to where you can find the Stitch People book. And then you can also look at Stitch People on Instagram. So that is it. This weekend, I might be hanging out at our local needle workshop. Confession time. I have never been to an LNS. Ever. I've never been to one. The closest one to me is about 20 minutes away, which doesn't seem that far. It's actually about the same distance as Joann's is to me. But I live in the East Bay in California, so we're on the east side of the San Francisco Bay, and to get to where this LNS is, I'd have to go through the tunnel, and I don't like driving through the tunnel if I don't have to. So I just don't even really think of it as my LNS, but I don't think there's anything else that's closer. So I might venture over there, because Olivia B and Becky, the Obsessed Stitcher, they go there and they meet up, and they invited me once before, but I wasn't able to go because I just had the baby, and she doesn't take bottles, and it just would have been too hard. But they're going again this weekend, so I might go meet up with them, and Vana is also visiting, so they're gonna go meet her there. So I'm really hoping I can go and then I can meet a couple other FlossTubers, and that'll be a lot of fun. So hopefully I can do that. If not, they'll probably talk about it and talk about what they did. I don't know. So I will come back and record again at the end of November, and I'm hoping I'll have lots to show you. Next week, like I said, my kids are here, so it's possible that I won't have much, but I'm really hoping to get some nice relaxing stitching time in, and hopefully you will too. So I will see you later, and until then, happy stitching.